conspirators. They obviously need to conceal the truth, and all we have to do is spread that awareness, spread that truth.
Now, I got that message. It's been relentlessly hammered in my head my entire life. How could I not get it? How could I not put it together? How could I not understand exactly what they're trying to tell me? Nothing is lost by the genocide, by the extinction of the entire white race. We should accept it because of all the evil deeds that they say we have done and that we're going to continue to do in the future if they don't do something about it now. If we don't repent, if we don't engage in this fight against our own people, against our own interest, and willingly submit to this genocide that's being carried out worldwide. Now, what will it take? What will it take before you finally get a hint that these people are conspiring to get this message across? It's not just one Jew here, one there, this simple little innocent message and movie that has nothing to do with anything. No. Put it together. They've been putting it together. They've been drilling this in your head your entire life. And there's a reason for it. It's not just cheap, mindless entertainment. There is a message. And it's really not hidden. It seems pretty blatant and obvious to me. It is over the top obvious. I don't see how a white person out there with an IQ over 75 couldn't see this. They are conditioning us to believe that race doesn't exist, that our culture doesn't matter, that nothing would be lost by bringing in tens of millions of non-whites into our countries, that our way of life won't be affected. Because remember, as this article says, we are all part of the human race. As a matter of fact, there's no such thing as race. We're all part of the human species. There's no difference between any of us. That's what we're taught to believe. But everyone else is to preserve their culture. But they are to preserve their culture against the white race. It's the white race that's encroaching upon their way of life. Now, their way of life counts, right? Their way of life counts. However, ours, because we've been so guilt-ridden by a bunch of Jew lies to believe that our ancestors did all these horrible things and that our people are still doing them and that they're going to continue doing them in the future. Now, if I bought into all this as well, I would think to myself, because I'm a good person, right? They are preying on the goodness that we all have, or that most of us have. The unselfishness, the altruism, the empathy that we show towards others. They prey upon these things. These are strengths when you have a homogeneous society where everyone's the same, where one good deed is passed on to someone else and it gets returned, it gets reciprocated by them. But when you have one group that is naturally inclined to be that way, and now they're being riddled with guilt and having this guilt forced and crammed down their throats, then they are going to bend over backwards to help out other people that they feel, that they wrongly believe that their ancestors have wronged, that these people are all victims, when in fact these people are perpetrating against us. They are using us. They are living off of us in our countries, in our lands. They kill us, they rape our women, and they piss on our grave. However, if you believe these lies, if you accept them without questioning them, if you take for granted that everything that's been crammed in your head since the time you were born is a fact, that white people are these evil people that have killed and murdered for no reason and they're going to continue to do so, then I can understand being an empathetic person, being a kind and caring and generous person, the guilt and the reason why so many of you would bow your head and willingly accept the genocide of your own people. If you really believe these things, if you haven't experienced your own culture, if you haven't taken a step back and seen just how kind most white people are, to a fault. Now, as a kind and caring and empathetic person who feels a great deal of pain and suffering for other people, if you truly believe that your people have caused the suffering of countless others, then it makes sense to me. It makes absolute sense that most whites, being caring and empathetic people, would in fact accept these things because they are overburdened with guilt. They believe these things to be true. So they're not going to fight for their people. They're not going to stop and look at the true nature of their people. They're not going to see how kind, caring, and compassionate most whites are in comparison to other people. The only people on this planet who are willing to do the things for others that whites are doing are whites. There's no other group of people that are willing to do these things. No other group of people that come close to it. There's never been another group of people that have put their own interest aside for the sake of others. It's not a survival tactic. It's not in anyone's best interest to do so, obviously. But again, this has taken decades, your entire life, my entire life, of lies to condition us, to have us willing to accept these things. Remember, the Jews have been expelled 109 times. They were doing things just as blatant as they're doing now, just as out in the open and obvious as they are now. However, they didn't have the power of the media back then to brainwash people into accepting these things, to accepting their own demise, to allowing in just a few short decades ago, we had countless countries of our own. And now in most of our countries, we are soon to be the minority. We are soon to be extinct. Our culture, our way of life, our very existence is coming to an end. This would have never happened without these harmless little movies, these harmless little television shows, and these harmless little lies that they have repeated over and over again. I don't care how nice a group of people are. I don't care how empathetic and how giving we might be. If we knew the truth, if we knew our true history and the facts about our people, and if we just took a look around and saw what's going on today and compared how giving whites are of themselves in their countries to others, and this isn't being reciprocated in any other part of the planet by any other group of people. So just making that simple comparison, it should dispel these myths. It should convince you that these things are lies. There's no way that people, hundreds of millions of whites now who are collectively so kind to a fault, are capable or were capable of such horrible and evil atrocities that are portrayed by the Jew media. Again, they have constantly bombarded us with these lies for a reason. Otherwise, we wouldn't accept these things. We wouldn't accept our own genocide. We wouldn't take an active role in seeing to it that it's carried out, as many whites are now doing. So wake up. Wake up, because by the time you realize it, it will be too late. And this isn't something that we can continue to just talk about. This is a bloody battle that's been going on for a long time, but it's been one-sided. It's been one-sided. And one day we're going to have to fight back. We're going to have to find that will to do that as individuals and collectively as men. Nobody's going to do it for us. Everyone, I repeat, everyone is going to continue to walk all over us, especially if they believe us to be what the Jew media has portrayed us as being. Now, they're going to look out for their own interests, and I don't blame them. That's natural. That's what human beings have been doing since the beginning of time. So we can expect it to continue. They're going to look out for their best interests. Again, nothing wrong with that. But we're going to have to look out for our best interest as well. Don't expect anyone else to do it for us. We are going to have to take action. You, me, and every last one of us. The time for talking is in fact going to come to an end. However, in the meantime, we have to try and counter the lies, a lifetime of lies, as best we can. But just getting online and preaching to the choir 20 minutes a day or whatnot, checking in on things and staying informed, that's not enough. It's not enough. Every waking moment, every free minute that you can find should be dedicated to this, to waking people up, to countering these bullshit lies that were meant to destroy us. If that's not enough motivation for you, if that doesn't light your fire and have you at least willing to spend the time to do the talking, to get out there on the internet and get the message across, to talk to your neighbors, to do whatever you can, then you damn sure ain't going to ever be willing to act, to sacrifice your life or whatever it takes, because that is obviously how serious this situation is. Lives are already being lost worldwide by the millions. Our very existence is threatened. If we don't act, and if we don't act soon, then I assure you that our culture, everything about us, gone. A distant memory. That's it. That's how serious it is. If you can't see that, if you can't understand that, then you have a lot more to learn. However, if you do understand that and you can see that clearly and you claim to be willing to take action, then get off your ass and do everything you can starting today. Not tomorrow, not waiting for someone else to do it for you. Do it yourself and do it now.
I've had enough. Rules crap about law. You know you got yourself a fight. One out of wages on my mind. So listen, Islamic Jew. Gonna wax you and never even born. When I get my hands on you, I said, hey, hey, the only solution. Full scale worldwide revolution. But you know you got yourself a fight. Whatever the wages all of my mind now. I've been down, I've been pushed around. I ain't taking anymore. Yeah, I'm breaking down your door. So listen, Islamic Jew. Gonna wax you and never even born. When I get my hands on you, I said, hey, hey, the only solution. Full scale worldwide revolution.